this painting.
This painting, it looks like my mother.
I know. That's why I painted her facing away.
No one has ever surprised me like this.
I just showed you what I actually have.
My landlady came for rent. I had no money, so I offered her something she never expected, and she couldn't say a word the debt I couldn't pay, and the truth that changed everything. The knock on my door came at exactly 6:47 p.m. on a Friday. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. I could recognize the sound of those heels on the hallway floor, confident, sharp, unhurried, the kind of footsteps that belonged to a woman who had never been told no in her life. Sandra Merritt, my landlady, my neighbor, the woman who owned half the block, drove a white Mercedes and wore mint green dresses like she was always on her way to a garden party. I stood frozen in the middle of my living room, staring at the door like it might disappear if I waited long enough. I had exactly $43 in my bank account. Rent was $1,500. The knock came again, louder this time. I ran a hand through my hair, took a breath, and opened the door. There she was, Sandra Merritt in the flesh, one hand resting on her hip, the other poised as if she'd been about to knock a third time. She was somewhere in her mid-40s, though she looked a decade younger. Curvy, put together with warm brown eyes that missed nothing and a small smile that could mean anything. "Ryan," she said, her voice smooth as river water. "It's the first of the month." "I know," I said. She tilted her head slightly. "So?" I stepped back from the door. "Can you come in for a minute?" Something shifted in her expression. Not suspicion exactly, more like curiosity. She glanced past me into the apartment, then back at my face, reading something there that made her pause. "This should be interesting," she said, almost to herself, and walked inside. My apartment wasn't much, a second-floor unit in a converted craftsman house in Pasadena, California. Sandra's property, one of 4 units she rented out. It was clean, furnished with second-hand pieces I'd painted and fixed up myself, and every wall was covered in framed artwork, paintings, sketches, photography prints. Sandra stood in the center of the living room, and I watched her eyes move slowly around the space. She had been in here exactly once before, when I first signed the lease 8 months ago, and that time her eyes had barely left the paperwork. Now, she was looking at everything. "Did you do all of these?" she asked, stopping in front of a large canvas. A night scene of the Pasadena Rose Bowl reflected in rain puddles, oil on canvas, midnight blues and warm amber streetlights. "Yes," I said. She didn't say anything for a long moment. "Mrs. Merritt," I started. "Sandra, I owe you an explanation." She turned away from the painting. "You owe me $1,500, Ryan." "I know." I sat down on the edge of the coffee table. Not the couch, not a chair, just the edge. The way you sit when you're ready to say something hard. "I lost my contract 2 months ago. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I had a steady client for 2 years, and they dropped me in November. No warning. I've been picking up smaller jobs, but I'm behind. I don't have the rent today." She studied my face. "Why didn't you come to me before today?" I looked at her. "Because I was embarrassed." She folded her arms across her chest. Not coldly, more like she was hugging herself, thinking. "And what exactly," she said slowly, "did you mean when you said you could give me something better?" I stood up and walked to the corner of the room where 3 canvases were leaning against the wall, still wrapped in brown paper. I had been preparing to list them on an online gallery, work I had spent months on, pieces I considered the best I'd ever made. I turned them around. The first was a portrait. A woman standing at a window, her back to the viewer, watching a city street below, golden light pouring over her shoulders. The second was a landscape, the California coastline at dawn, painted so realistically you could almost feel the salt air. The third was abstract, a burst of warm color exploding outward from a dark center, chaotic and beautiful at the same time. Sandra stepped forward without a word. She stood in front of the window painting for a long time. Then she looked at the coastline, then the abstract. When she turned back to me, something had changed in her face entirely. "These are remarkable," she said. Her voice was quieter now. "I had them appraised last week," I told her. "The gallery on Lake Avenue. You might know it, Thompson's Fine Art. The woman there told me the portrait alone would sell for anywhere between $1,200 and $2,000. The landscape she estimated at around 1,500. These aren't worthless pieces, Sandra. I'm not asking you to take a loss. She sat down. Actually sat down, right on my second-hand sofa, which I don't think she even realized she was doing. You're offering me your paintings, she said, instead of rent. I'm offering you 1 month's grace and 3 pieces of original art that an appraiser put above market value, I said. I'm not running from you. I'm not disappearing. I have 2 proposals in with clients right now, and I expect to be back on solid ground within 60 days. But today, right now, this is what I have to offer. And I think it's actually worth more than $1,500. Sandra Merritt looked at me for a long, silent moment. Then she pressed her hand over her mouth. It wasn't dramatic. She didn't gasp or make a scene. It was quiet, almost private. Her fingers covered her lips, and she looked at me over the top of her hand with those wide brown eyes, and in that single moment, I couldn't tell what she was thinking at all. Whether she was moved, or furious, or somewhere in between. I haven't had anyone surprise me in a very long time, she finally said, her voice slightly muffled behind her hand. She dropped her hand slowly, looked at the window painting again. My mother used to paint, she said almost to herself. She passed 5 years ago. She did watercolors, nothing like this, but she had a whole studio in our house growing up. I sold most of it after she died. I don't know why. I think I just... She stopped, shook her head. I don't know why I'm telling you that. I sat down across from her. Because the painting made you think of her? She looked at me sharply, as if startled that I had said it so plainly. Then slowly she nodded. The woman at the window, she said. The way the light falls on her. It looks like the way my mother used to stand in the kitchen in the mornings, before everything started, before the day got loud. Her voice was steady, but something behind her eyes was not. The room was very quiet. Take the portrait, I said. Please, not as payment, as a gift. The other 2 are yours if you want them as the month's rent. But the portrait is just a gift. She looked at me like she wasn't sure whether to trust me or not. Like kindness was something she'd learned to be careful around. Why? She asked. Because you've been fair to me for 8 months, I said. You fixed the heater in December without making me fill out 7 forms. You texted me when a package was left outside in the rain. You didn't raise my rent when the unit next to mine went for $300 more. You've been decent to me, Sandra, and I haven't said thank you once. So, thank you. She stood up abruptly, walked to the window painting, and picked it up carefully, holding it by the edges the way someone holds something they don't want to damage. She stood there for a full minute, just looking at it. Then she set it back gently against the wall and turned to me. You have 60 days, she said. Her voice was business again, but softer around the edges. No late fees, no report to the credit bureau. 60 days and then we're square, and I'll take the landscape as collateral, not the portrait. The portrait stays with you. Sandra, I don't want your thank you gift, she said firmly. But there was a small curve at the corner of her mouth. I want you to keep painting. That's more useful to the world than whatever I do with it. She picked up the landscape canvas, tucked it under her arm like she did carried artwork her entire life, and walked toward the door. At the threshold, she paused without turning around. The woman in the window, she said quietly. How did you know to paint her facing away? Most people paint faces. I thought about it. Because the most interesting thing is always what someone is looking at, I said. Not what they look like. Sandra Merritt stood very still for just a second. Then she walked out, heels sharp and unhurried on the hallway floor, the landscape under her arm, and she didn't look back. I paid the full rent 37 days later. She texted me on the 38th day. The landscape is hanging in my living room. 3 people have asked me about it this week. I told them the artist is local and available for commissions. Expect some calls. I stared at the message for a long time. The first commission inquiry came the next morning, then another. Then a gallery owner in Silver Lake reached out, saying Sandra Merritt had personally recommended my work. I never asked her why she did it. I think she was tired of people who only showed her what they could afford, and finally met someone who showed her what they actually had. And sometimes what you have is worth more than money. Sometimes it's everything.